Okay, so we are live. It is what, Wednesday? I think it's Wednesday. It's hard for me. It's Thursday. It's hard for me to keep track anymore. All right, so it is Thursday. It is 4:13 in the afternoon on January the 25th at the time of this recording, and I have to unbox today Supergirl. This is Supergirl from DC Rebirth. So I bought this one a while ago. There was a morning where I was stuck at the place I was working at because uh, they lost the pass to get out of the parking deck. I didn't have any way to get out of the parking deck, so I went on a little bit of a walkabout and went by a Target and happened to find Supergirl. So it's one of those blessing in disguise kind of things because I haven't seen this figure again since. So I probably wouldn't have been able to buy this figure if not for these circumstances. This is one of those Mcfarlane gold label figures. This was a Target exclusive, and I had her, like I said, been sitting on her for a while, but haven't had a chance to open her up yet. There's a lovely piece of artwork on the back. I believe that's Terry Dodson. I don't see a signature, but it looks like Terry Dodson to me. Not a whole lot else to say about the packaging because we've been over the Mcfarlane packaging before. So let's go ahead and open her up. So I'm going to take my X-Acto knife and just kind of slit a little piece of tape at the bottom there. And let's go ahead and get her out. One thing that's interesting about this figure that I noticed is that she's got a fabric cape, like an actual soft goods cape. And Mcfarlane's been doing that a little bit more frequently here lately. Like I know, some of the Batman figures from the movies have had fabric capes, like probably so you can fit the Michael Keaton figures in the Batmobile that they made. So she comes with a flight stand, so that's nice. We're going to set that aside for now. Oops, something knocked over some of my stuff that I had over here on my work area for custom action figures. So yeah, there is the flight stand. So since she comes with a flight stand and a regular stand, I think I'm going to wind up giving her a regular stand to the Mr. Freeze Build-A-Figure, since he didn't have his own stand. And obviously I'm going to want to display her on the flight stand. So there that is assembled. You can see it's got like a little kind of frosty DC logo embossed on there. Maybe I should give Mr. Freeze the flight stand. No, he didn't come with a glider. So maybe they'll put out the Mr. Freeze figure again and have it come with a glider, and then he can come with a flight stand. And that would be awesome. All right, so go ahead and there's rubber tabs around her midsection. So those are cut, and it looks like those are the only rubber tabs that are on this figure. Thank goodness. Okay, so she looks like she's embedded pretty deeply within the package, like everywhere. Like her fists are embedded deeply in the package, her head is embedded deeply in the package, her toes are embedded deeply in the package, but I think that's going to be the easiest place to get her out. But since she's got this fabric cape, I'm going to want to be really careful about that. Now, this cape, it does seem to have like a little bit of stretchiness to it, but not quite as much as spandex. You can see it's very smooth on this side, but on this side, it's got kind of a texture to it. I don't know if it's coming across on the camera, but it looks almost like a sports jersey or something. So I'm going to try to get her out of this package. There we go. Got that arm loose. And I was kind of itchy for whatever reason. And this other fist. There we go. We got that loose. And if I bend her up at the knees, there we go. And now I'm very carefully going to take this cape out of here. I don't want it to get hung up on the sharp edges of the plastic. I don't want it to get frayed or anything like that. I don't want anything to hang on that plastic cape. Now, one problem that I have with this figure that I noted immediately is A lot of the times these days they give Supergirl some high boots, and this figure is no exception. But the boots are like way too high because like they literally go. We're gonna do an upskirt shot, so but you know it's tasteful. Uh, they literally go all the way up to the shorts that she has on underneath. I guess they're little Spanx like a cheerleader wears, or it's part of the same bodysuit and the cape just wraps over the bodysuit, which is how I prefer to think of Supergirl's outfit. But but yeah, so there should at least be like a little bit of thigh that we're seeing there. Like I would say, do it like how Supergirl's outfit is on the television show, but I guess they were too lazy or too cheap to spring for some extra flesh-colored paint there. It's still a pretty impressive looking figure of her, though. We're going to set her aside for now. We got other stuff to go over. I'll come right back to that. I might wind up repainting her and having a little bit of thigh there, but oh well. So we got the figure stand and the trading card to go over, and those are both on the same bubble. And you know I love it when Mcfarlane puts the figure stand and the trading card on the same bubble because it makes my life a lot easier. And there is the trading card, and again, it's the same piece of artwork that we had on the back of the package. Mcfarlane has been doing that lately, where they've been putting putting artwork on the trading card instead of a photograph of the action figure, which I prefer to have artwork on there. So that's good for me. So it says Supergirl, DC Rebirth, real name Kara Zor-El. As a child, Kara Zor-El witnessed the devastation of Krypton before she was sent to Earth on a mission to protect her infant cousin Kal-El. Arriving on Earth decades too late, she discovered the grown-up Kal-El has been imprisoned. There's no E there. Can you see that? Can you focus on that? Imprisoned with no E between the N and the D. Still determined to protect her family and its legacy, Kara will fight her cousin's enemies as Supergirl. So, and you can see there's a little bit of thigh in between the boot and the skirt, as there ought to be. And also, they drew her emblem really weird, because they do that with Supergirl sometimes these days for whatever reason. Sometimes they draw it like the electric blue Superman emblem, or sometimes they just do some other thing that's just strange. I don't know why they do that nowadays, but it's just something they do. So maybe it's trademark reasons. Maybe they feel like legally she has to have her own distinct emblem. I don't know. Batgirl has her own distinct emblem. Maybe that's why. I don't know. So anyway, really nice head sculpt. Looks a lot like the Terry Dodson artwork that's on the packaging. So that's cool. Also looks a little bit like Helen Slater, which I'm a big fan of Helen Slater, and I really enjoyed the Supergirl movie that she made. It's not the best movie, if we're being honest, but I enjoyed it regardless. But yeah, it looks a little bit like Helen Slater. They did do a variant version of this figure where she's in colors that look more like the Supergirl television series, but I wasn't able to find that one. I was lucky enough, like I said, to find this one. So let's go over her articulation. So her head does turn from side to side, and probably would turn all the way around, but the hair is kind of hindering it. And I don't want, like I said, don't want to mess up this cape too much, so I'm trying not to put too much strain on the cape. And it does kind of get caught up under her hair a little bit, so we're going to try to straighten that out. There we go. I think I'm going to try to keep it as close to this pose as possible as far as the cape goes. The head looks up, not really at all. It just kind of looks straight ahead. Do get a little bit of downward motion, but again, the hair kind of hinders things as far as the posing of the head. That's to be expected when you have a long-haired character. So just kind of par for the course there. She does have the butterfly joints, so hopefully that'll help with her articulation as far as like moving the arms back and forth. like that. Maybe not as much as we might like, but there is a little bit of that. Her arms rotate all the way around. She does have a bicep cut, so the bicep rotates all the way around. It's kind of an awkward place where they put it, and kind of awkward how it works out. You can see it doesn't quite. You get a little bit of where the edge is sticking out there. It seems like it's a little off center, and the the lower part of the bicep actually seems like it's a little bit thicker than the upper part where they connect. So that's unfortunate. She's got double jointed elbows. This one seems a little stiff, but as you can see, they fold all the way up. That's pretty cool. They fold up as far as they possibly could. She's got the cool Mcfarlane ball jointed wrists, so you can pose her wrists in any kind of position you want. She's got closed fists, so she wouldn't be able to hold accessories if she did have accessories, but she doesn't. So there's that. Cool Mcfarlane torso articulation, so we can get her into all kinds of cool poses that way. Her legs obviously can't go up very far because she's got this soft plastic skirt piece, which, is going to hinder her articulation somewhat. That's just naturally how that's going to go. You would think if they were going to give her a soft goods cape, maybe they could give her a soft goods skirt as well, but that is not the case. So no thigh cut or anything like that. What would have been cool is if they had where the boots actually stopped, and they could have put a thigh cut there and hit it very easily, but her boots go up way too far. So none of that. Good range of articulation on the knees. As you can see, her knees bend all the way up. And then she's got the cool Mcfarlane ball jointed ankles. And these are a little more ball jointed, or a little more ball shaped than the ones we've seen recently, but they do have like some wrinkling sculpted into it. Since her her ankles are so narrow, it's not quite as obvious as it could be. Like if you've got it like that, it still blends pretty well. It's only really noticeable when you've got her toes pointed down, and then you've got that roundish shape there, or when her toes are pointed up and you've got the roundish shape at the back of the ankle. But, good range of motion at least. So yeah, that's pretty much it for the articulation. The paint is good. Like I said, most of that is going to be in the face, and she's got like a really nice, pretty painted face. Lots of detail with the hair, with like highlights and stuff like that. So she looks cool. She looks like the Supergirl I grew up with. Like I said, she looks like Helen Slater. So and I was a big fan of her portrayal. Not necessarily like that they tried to do a likeness, but almost like they didn't try to not do a likeness, if you know what I mean. So kind of like sometimes how you'll have a Superman figure that looks kind of like Christopher Reeve, but they didn't pay for the likenessing rights, and they didn't necessarily they didn't necessarily sculpt it to look like Christopher Reeve, but they weren't trying to make it not look like Christopher Reeve. You know what I mean? So, and I do have here, I have the Hush Superman, which to me seemed like it would be the one that would most appropriately go with this Supergirl. And you see the colors match up pretty decently. Now, Supergirl has kind of a very yellowish gold on her emblem and her belt, as opposed to like the flat yellow like Superman has. She does not have an S on the back of her cape, probably as a result of having this soft goods cape. Yeah, they could have screen printed one on there, but they probably just figured it wasn't worth bothering. And I don't know, honestly. The Rebirth Supergirl might not even have an emblem on the back of her cape, because they can be kind of lazy about that stuff these days. But the blue doesn't match up exactly. Her blue is just slightly more on like the violet shade of blue. It's a little more purplish, whereas Superman's is a little more sort of true blue. So I mean, it's not a purple blue. It's definitely blue, but it's more on the purple side of being blue, if that makes any sense. So this is a pretty great Supergirl figure. I did have the Injustice Supergirl. I should compare those. Let me just grab her real quick because I know exactly where she is. I can grab her real quick. She's just literally on the other side here. So we can compare the two different versions of Supergirl that I have from Mcfarlane so far. And so yeah, there's the Injustice Supergirl and the comic book Supergirl. So you can have characters from parallel universes meeting each other. If I could find another one of these, I could probably make a pretty decent Power Girl figure out of it. But maybe McFarlane will make a Power Girl figure eventually anyway, and I won't have to bother. So, but yeah, there's both the Supergirl figures. So I'm pretty happy with how she turned out. Like I said, there's some nitpicks that I have and some things that I think could have been better. I would have preferred if like they hadn't had the boots go all the way up her legs because that's just weird. So I'm gonna repaint it. But do I want to repaint what's probably going to be like an expensive action figure after all is said and done? She's probably going to be worth some money since she's not a very common figure. So maybe I'll just wait for them to do another Supergirl at another time. But she looks cool on the flight stand, doesn't she? So, anyway, that's pretty much it for this episode. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please make sure that you like and subscribe and all the fun YouTube stuff down below. Leave a comment. Let me know what you think about this Supergirl and the character of Supergirl in general. I think they did a pretty good job with her, but they could have done a better job with her. And maybe at some point they'll do another repaint and, you know, have the little bit of thigh there like they ought to have. So one can only hope. I probably sound like a complete pervert talking about how I wish I could see Supergirl's thighs, but I'm really more talking about the accuracy of the costume. So even if you just want to do like blue tights, I just feel like there should be something to break up all that red there. So, you know, whatever. We'll talk to you next time. Bye.